I mean, take a look at this arm. Hey, San Antonio, take a look at this bicep. Woo! Nathan Train in the UFC.
UFC Atlantic City goes down this Saturday night, and I wanted to break down all the fights on this card. One of my favorite fighters in the entire sport is on this card. Other than that, eh. So we'll talk about that fight, and then we'll talk about the main card. I'll give you my predictions, and we'll talk a little bit about each fight, maybe some more than others. Let's get straight into it. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this content, and let's get straight into it. Up first, the one fight I wanted to talk about, one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, Nate the Train, baby. Nate the Train in the UFC versus Jamal Emmers. Now, I tried so hard to find a way to make Nate my guy, and I figured it out. He's gonna be able to pressure him a lot for the entire fight. He has a ridiculous chin. I mean, if you guys want an example of how crazy his durability is long term and his ability to recover is one of the most impressive things, even. Yes, he got knocked out by Julian Erosa, but anyone can get knocked out. But like, can you get dropped and immediately recover? That's what like sanctions durability, in my mind. So if you want one of the best fights in my book, maybe of all time, maybe it's a little overrated, but Da- Nate Landwehr versus David Onama, banger, absolutely crazy fight. Both of them get hurt multiple times. They're both gassed at the end. Nate's celebrating the entire third round. It's so much fun. That's one of the most fun fights. Getting to go back and rewatch that so I could figure this out. But I don't know. This is going to be a really hard fight for Nate Landwehr. Okay, like a really, really hard fight. Um, because Jamal Emmers has some things that scare me in a matchup against like Nate Landwehr. Uh, One is his physical tools. He's tall and lanky. I mean, he's only 1 inch taller than Nate, but he just has that lanky feel, He's bouncy. He's got a good style. Um, he has some sneaky good wins too. Let's see. I'm sorry, I need to pull him up. I thought I had him pulled up. Sorry, guys. Um, so yeah, he has wins against Ashkabov, who is pretty solid. He has a split decision loss to Giga, which we got. That's a really good fight, and he also has a KO loss to Julian Erosa on the Contender Series. He won some fights, got back in the UFC, but I don't know. I just don't like a loss to Pat Sabatini. I don't like a loss to Jack Jenkins. It was split decision, but Jack Jenkins is a leg kick merchant at the end of the day. Pat Sabatini, I mean, he's a great submission threat, but I don't know. With that frame and your athleticism, you should be like solid at takedown defense. You should be able to get out a lot of those positions for a soy boy like Pat Sabatini. He knocked out Benes Bazooka. Crazy name, by the way, but he knocked out Dennis Bazooka, but it's just not that impressive. Dennis Bazooka's mid at best. And yeah, so I am going to go with Nate the Train to probably win by decision. Maybe he breaks Jamal Emmers late in the fight, and Jamal Emmers ends up just tired against the side of the cage, and Nate's able to break him down, and he TKO something like that. But yep, Nate the Train in the UFC, baby. On to the next one: Chidi Ninja Kawani versus Reese McKee. Uh, I'm going with Chidi here. Cheaty has a lot of really solid skill sets, honestly, um, that I like. He has big size, but I don't know. I'm just not sold on him. I mean, he's basically a 50-50 fighter for his entire career. Uh, like long term, I mean, he got knocked out by Gregory Rodriguez. He's lost his last three fights. That's a rough look. But the problem that you may run into is Reese McKee is just not all that, you know? So I'm gonna go with Cheaty, just being bigger, faster. Oh, voice crack. Sorry, I need to drink more water. But let's get on to the next one. Bill Algeo versus Kyle Nelson. I think this one's pretty straightforward. Kyle Nelson's gonna get the brakes beat off him. I think Bill Algeo runs at a crazy pace. Um, he he's so good. I like him a lot. He has a lot of really solid skill sets. So I'm going Bill Algeo. Pretty simple there, I think. And on to the next one. Nursultan Ruziboyev versus Cedricus Dumas. Two of the hardest names to pronounce in the UFC going up against each other. Let's just get straight to the point. I think Cedricus is not all that. like he doesn't have a fun style. It's not a very good style. He's low output. He averages 1.8 strikes per minute. He tries taking down people, but I think that Ruziboyev is going to just go across the cage, grab him, and roll him up, you know? And then, yeah, I mean, Cedricus is just not all that, and Ruziboyev has fought almost 40 times, so 45 times. So I'm going to go with the guy with a lot more experience, the better style, and the better prospect. And on to the next one. You hate to see it, boys. You hate to see one of the legends going down hard. Chris Weidman versus Bruno Silva. Why are you fighting, bro? Come on, Chris Weidman. Me and you. Let's talk about this. Like, you've made so much money through your career. You suffer this massive injury, and I know you wanted to get over that hump and prove that you could come back. But this is just not the right road to go down. It's just not. So, Chris Weidman, I hope you don't get brutally KO'd, but that's just what I have happening here. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Bruno Silva. He's slick. He had a close fight with Alex Pereira. He hasn't looked the best as of late, but he's going against a 39-year-old Chris Weidman, who had one of the worst leg injuries you could ever have, took years off, came back, and didn't look good. Did not look good, looked timid. Um, I think Bruno Silva is just going to kick at his legs. Um, yeah, I think he gets brutally finished there, unfortunately, and we'll all be sad. Um, so, on to the next one, though. Sorry for the sadness. Vincente Luque versus Joaquin Buckley. Now, I'm a huge Vincente Luque fan. Always have been. He always comes to scrap. He's there for war. Um, but he just leaves his chin on a silver platter. He's not invincible like he used to be. I mean, most of his style has always been just, I'm going to take your shots, and then I'm going to land some shots that you're not going to take. That's been his style, He walks forward. He doesn't really move his head, but he throws power, and he has one of the best darces of all time. I just think he's going to get caught badly by Buckley with something. Buckley's just such a freaky athlete. Luque, not the best athlete in the world. He just relies on grit. And I mean, he had like a brain thing go on, and like he was talking about retiring, and it just doesn't all look good. I mean, he looked good in his last fight. I'm not gonna lie, which is why it's like, okay, maybe I trust my boy one more time for the real time. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's RDA that he beat. It's not a young up and comer with power. Buckley isn't the best. Like, I wouldn't be mad if you told me Luque is gonna mess up Buckley, because I could see it. In a world, I could see that happening, but I just don't. I just don't. So, yeah, I'm going with Joaquin Buckley by KO in the second round with like a big overhand right, or maybe a head kick or something. Um, yeah, on to the next one. The main event of the evening. Oh, sorry, I have to talk about this fight, I think. So, Aaron Blanchfield versus Manon Fiorot. Actually, in terms of women's main events from non-champions, this is about as good as it gets. Is it going to be fun when the fourth round hits and the fifth round hits? Probably not. If that happens, that's rough for all of us. So I hope that my predictions come true here. I got Aaron Blanchfield by submission. And Aaron Blanchfield kind of strikes like a spaz, but she's accurate. She's accurate. She lands more accurately than Manon Fiorot. She is good at wrestling, and her jiu-jitsu is elite. She's not afraid of power. We saw that in the Andrade fight. And Manon doesn't really have power. She came in to the UFC, and we were super excited about her because she was just knocking everyone out in the lower levels. And then over the last 4 fights, she's had 4 snooze fests with the low-level women's MMA fighters. So I think Erin Blanchfield is much younger, much hungrier. She fights more. I like activity always. And I think she's just going to eat some shots from Pitter Patter Manon, you know, and she's going to eventually take her down. It's going to be at a crazy pace for the first 2 or 3 rounds, and then it would like if this isn't finished in the first 3 rounds, it's going to be a clinch fest against the side of the cage. I just know it will be. Um, yeah, but that's my picks for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.